If you've interacted with something that looks like this, there's a good chance you've helped fund this man.
We're going to talk about why it's not your fault and what you can do to change it.
It's not your fault.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching In Depth
on Now You Know.
We're sponsored by our friends at Henson Shaving, the sustainable shaving choice.
You can get 100 blades for free if you use the promo code NOWYOUKNOW when you're checking out with your new Henson razor. And thank you to Charity Stars for sponsoring today's show.
We have partnered with Charity Stars to give our viewers the chance to win, get this, a 2022 Rivian R1T Adventure all-electric pickup truck plus $10,000 cash.
Go to CharityStars.com/NowYouKnow and use our coupon code NowYouKnow at checkout to get 250 free entries on your purchase.
Charity Stars is a groundbreaking fundraising platform that helps raise money for a charitable cause.
Donations will benefit the Adopt the Arts Foundation, a charity whose mission is to support art and music programs to all students, regardless of where they live or go to school.
Now, I want to talk about what you could win. 2022 Rivian R1T pickup truck. I mean, this is the first electric pickup truck that you can get your hands on.
And it's also an exciting adventure vehicle. Camping, rock climbing, off-roading. You can do it all with this amazing truck, and it seats 5.
We're day one reservation holders for a reason. There are so many cool features on this truck.
Yeah, like the unique gear tunnel, camp kitchen, power outlets, and air compressor.
So go to CharityStars.com/NowYouKnow right now, donate to Adopt the Arts Foundation, and use our coupon code NowYouKnow to get 250 free entries.
This is your chance to win a Rivian R1T pickup truck plus $10,000 cash.
And support a great cause.
Go to CharityStars.com/NowYouKnow for your chance to win. Now, I know that I'm talking to just about everyone here, but if you have ever bought gasoline, there's a good chance that some of it came from Russia and that some of your hard-earned money went to fund the tanks that are rolling over the Ukrainian border.
Whoa, Jesse. Are you accusing me of funding a dictator here?
I think I just made it clear that I'm accusing just about everybody. But don't get it twisted. It's not your fault.
If I helped pay for it, why isn't it my fault?
The reason that we still see gas pumps is because, like Russia, the US and the rest of the world has its own oligarchs, and they've been pushing the levers of power to create the outcome they want. This war is just a mere side effect of their profit schemes.
Well, hang on. What do you mean by oligarchs? We live in a free democracy.
Well, they might be faceless corporations, but whether it's oil companies, utilities, or foreign powers, your choices and your wallet has been heavily influenced by their decisions.
But I mean, there is something you can do. I mean, I've made changes that make me far less dependent on foreign fossil fuels. You may be wondering why I brought you here. It's to see this. This is our solar system installed by Solar City, now Tesla, back in 2013. And 9 kilowatts of power that I get every day. It's operated flawlessly. And we never had to have them come out and fix anything because it works perfectly. But I hear what you're saying. What do I do when the sun goes down? Well, that's why we got these 4 power walls installed 4 years ago. And we've had plenty of times we've shown you on the show what happens when we lose our power. These back it up. Electric cars are another big piece of the puzzle. And we don't just talk the talk here on the show. We walk the walk. Or we drive the drive. And we've been driving electric cars in my family for about 10 years. In fact, all we have in the family right now are electric cars. And I gotta tell you, they're pretty awesome. The last piece of the puzzle is that my house is heated right now with natural gas. So what we're doing this year is we're working with Dandelion, and they're a geothermal company. They're gonna come and install geothermal loops down in the ground, and we're gonna get all of our heat from the earth and some electricity. And that's gonna be the last piece of the puzzle for us.
These are changes that people can make to significantly reduce their carbon footprint, but also their dependence on foreign fossil fuels. And you could have made these changes much earlier, Zach.
Hang on, what are we talking about? I got solar back in 2013. I mean, I suppose I could have done it like a few years earlier, but... I
mean, if President Reagan, let's say, when he took office back in 1980, hadn't ripped the solar panels off the White House roof that President Carter had installed.
Oh, I see. Right. That would have sent a message to the country that solar panels were a good thing, but instead we all thought back then that solar wasn't a viable option. I wonder why.
And in 1999, GM took back and crushed their EV1 electric cars. This was after GM themselves lobbied against CARB regulations in California, which would have mandated a certain number of zero-emission vehicles be produced by each car manufacturer.
As soon as those regulations were off the table, GM crushed the cars, setting back EV adoption by over a decade. And I mean, I wanted to buy that car back in 1999, and I wanted to get solar back then too.
It was due to the oligarchs that we weren't allowed to have these options. And just recently, we've seen utilities change rates and influence state and local governments to pass legislation barring or slowing solar and EV adoption.
Oh, right. I mean, we just covered a court case in Arizona where in 2014, the utility company Salt River Project started charging customers with solar 65% more for electricity. And then a Ninth Circuit appellate court found them guilty of antitrust law violations this year.
There have also been recent bills proposed in Florida, California, New York, and Iowa to slow down solar, and bills in Oklahoma, Mississippi, and West Virginia, which would make it harder for Tesla to sell EVs. All these bills come from the people, the oligarchs, who want to slow down renewable adoption.
Now, you might be thinking that this whole argument against big oil is climate change, right? There goes these hippy dippies talking about saving the planet again.
Well, saving the planet, yes, but it's not always just about saving the world from greenhouse gases.
Let's talk about the economy. Rising energy prices right now are going to be one of the biggest contributors to rising inflation.
There's a reason why the oil embargo of the 1970s led to the highest inflation rates the U.S. has seen in decades.
Do you want to see mortgage rates go up to 18% again? Do you know how impossible that makes buying a house for the average person? But do you want to talk about going to bed scared at night?
What do you mean, like nuclear war?
No, something less existential, but something that we're all facing right now.
What are you talking about?
If you own an EV right now, driving isn't as scary as if you own an ICE car. The price of filling up your ICE car's tank with gas is likely going to go up very quickly, as it has been for the past couple weeks, with no end in sight. That uncertainty is scary. EV drivers, on the other hand, will pay much less to drive the same number of miles. We won't have to worry about lines at the gas station or running out of gas. Our electrons are not going to run out, especially if you get your electrons from your roof's solar system.
And I know what a lot of you are saying right now. Zach and Jesse, getting solar, batteries, geothermal, and EV, these things ain't cheap.
But you know what? They're not expensive either, especially when you factor in how much you'll save over time.
Don't be scared off by what you think might be too big a price tag for your budget.
There are a bunch of tax incentives for all four of those things that could go a long way to making them more achievable for you. All I'm asking is that you do a bit of research and find out if maybe, just maybe, one or more of these new technologies might actually be affordable to you.
And even if they aren't a perfect fit for you right now, consider budgeting for them for further down the road. And tell your friends and family about them.
But you know what? When we face existential threats from climate change and war, if we had strong leadership, we could be making these systems even more affordable and easy to get.
Exactly. This is where politicking fails. Just come out and say what we need to do clearly. We need to transition away from fossil fuels as fast as possible for so many reasons. Here are some upgrades we can make on how we live. Let's make it doable for the average person and take back our freedom and energy independence.
Now, a lot of smart people and resources are going into carbon removal technologies like these companies. We emit 43 billion tons of CO2 globally every year. And the goal of many of these technologies is to get the price of removing 1 ton of CO2 from the atmosphere down to about $100.
According to the EPA, a typical gas-burning car produces 4.6 tons of CO2 per year.
An EV produces 0. So even if we could get the price of capturing 1 ton of CO2 down to $100, my EV just saved $460. We should be giving everyone who drives an electric car $460 a year.
You know what doesn't emit carbon in the first place, though? Solar, wind, EVs, and geothermal.
Great point. Why not spend the money on these 4 things so that we can create electricity, transportation, heat and cool our buildings and water, all cleanly to begin with?
Instead, we pollute our air, and then we want to spend more money to try and clean it. Are we really that stupid?
Lastly, there's one more thing you can do, which is completely free. Speak up.
That's right. We're asking you to speak up. Use that voice of yours, no matter where you live. Contact your representatives in government, from local, state, provincial, all the way up to the federal level.
Tell them that you're watching how they vote, and you vote for representatives who support sustainable, renewable energy, not big oil subsidies.
I know. It's tough, you say, to keep up with what's going on the state and local level. So join a local group in your area that keeps tabs on government.
Join them. Support them. Go to some meetings. Meet some folks like you who care about what's going on. It'll be a positive addition to your life. I guarantee it. And if you're intrigued about getting solar, but you got lots of questions about it, which I know I did when I was getting solar, contact our friends over at Energy Pal. They have all the answers and they'll give them to you for free.
And as we mentioned, we're still burning natural gas to heat the house and studios here at Now You Know. But we made the decision a few months ago to switch to geothermal because our friends at Dandelion just started installing geothermal systems in our area.
We're going to be telling you much more about this in the months to come, but we wanted to test it out for you first so we could share our experience, how the planning and installation works, how much money and energy we end up saving, and we want to share our entire experience going geothermal with you so you can have more information.
And again, the reason that this isn't your fault is that if our leaders had decided that this was important, we could have already become energy independent.
Every country has sun, wind, and geothermal energy.
The technologies, the wind turbines, the solar panels, the batteries, geothermal heat pumps, they've been around for decades.
For those of you who believe that this transition will take decades, it simply doesn't have to.
The reason we got to the moon in less than 10 years after President Kennedy led the nation to get there is because of leadership, determination, and money.
For less than we subsidize big oil, we could become energy independent and install solar panels, wind turbines, batteries, and geothermal, and drive EVs everywhere.
We just have to demand it. You have a voice, you have the power, now go make it happen.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Now you know.